Get your mop out of here. David Kent's voice sliced through the silence like a whip. Every head in the glass boardroom turned. Tom Wilson, the janitor, stood frozen at the door, holding a cleaning bucket. He had entered quietly, thinking the meeting was over. But it wasn't. And now, every executive, every intern, every whisper was aimed at him. David smirked. I swear, this company hires anyone these days. Can someone tell him this isn't a janitor's convention? Laughter broke across the room, the kind of cruel, nervous laugh that hides fear behind mockery. Tom's hands didn't shake. He slowly set the bucket down beside the wall, straightened his worn blue uniform, and looked up. Their eyes met, CEO and janitor. Power and patience. Then, quietly, almost too calmly, Tom said, "You're right, Mr. Kent. This isn't a janitor's meeting." He paused, one heartbeat. "It's your last one." And for the first time that morning, the laughter died. Drop your city or country in the comments. Let's see how far this story travels. And if you believe in respect over power, hit that like button and subscribe, because this channel stands for stories where truth wins and arrogance falls. The boardroom slowly returned to normal. Employees whispered under their breath, stealing glances at Tom, unsure whether to be shocked, scared, or amused. Tom Wilson had been a janitor at Kent Enterprises for 15 years. Quiet. Efficient. Invisible to most of the executives. He moved through the hallways like a shadow, cleaning, fixing, observing. But underneath that calm exterior was a mind sharp as a blade. Meanwhile, David Kent sat at the head of the table, puffed up with pride, his suit crisp, his ego even crisper. The kind of man who believed titles made him untouchable, and the people under him were expendable. The night before, Tom had received a simple phone call, a hint of change. A small smile flickered across his face, unnoticed by the world, as he set his mop aside. Something big was coming, though no one knew it yet. As David resumed his condescending lecture about company standards, Tom's calm presence seemed almost audacious. The employees shifted uncomfortably, sensing a storm quietly brewing beneath the surface. And then, almost imperceptibly, Tom's eyes met the camera, steady, unshaken, like he already knew the ending to a story everyone else was only just beginning. David Kent slammed a folder onto the table, rattling the pens and papers. "All right, everyone, listen up. This is serious, no distractions. And that includes you, Wilson." Tom froze mid-step, still holding his cleaning supplies. The entire room turned, eyes wide. Some stifled gasps, others suppressed laughter. David leaned back, smirk curling across his lips. "Honestly, I don't know how you even got hired here. You walk around pretending to do a job that barely matters. Do you know why we have meetings like this?" He paused, letting the humiliation sink in. "Because people like you shouldn't even exist in this room." A ripple of nervous laughter filled the air. Employees glanced at one another, unsure whether to defend Tom or stay silent. Tom placed the bucket gently on the floor. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't tremble. Instead, he spoke softly, each word deliberate. "I understand, Mr. Kent. But maybe it's time someone else showed you how a company really runs." David's smirk faltered. "What did you just say?" he barked. Tom's calm gaze met every employee in the room. The tension was so thick it could have been sliced with a knife. "I said, maybe it's time someone else showed you the truth." David laughed nervously, masking growing panic. "Truth? What are you talking about? You're a janitor. You clean floors." Tom nodded politely. "Yes, sir. And sometimes, those floors are the foundation of everything you build. One day, you might learn that lesson." A hush fell over the room. Cameras' phones clicked silently as employees captured the confrontation. The smirks turned to frowns. The first seeds of doubt were planted, and for the first time that day, David Kent was unsure. The boardroom fell into an uneasy silence. David Kent's face twisted, trying to maintain control, but his confidence was crumbling. Suddenly, the door opened quietly. A lawyer stepped in, holding a thick folder of documents. "Mr. Wilson," the lawyer said, voice firm, "the final transfer papers are ready." Tom's calm eyes met David's. "It's your last meeting here, sir," he said softly. David laughed nervously, glancing at the employees. "Transfer papers? For what?" "You can't, you're just a janitor." The lawyer placed the folder on the table. "Ownership of Kent Enterprises, Mr. Kent. All shares have been legally transferred to Mr. Wilson." A collective gasp swept through the room. Phones were already recording. Employees whispered in disbelief, some covering their mouths. David's face turned pale, his confident smirk replaced by panic. This is impossible." "How?" Tom smiled faintly, steady as ever. "You see, Mr. Kent, the janitor you humiliated just became your boss." Employees exchanged stunned glances. Some murmured, "No way, he bought the company?" Others nodded subtly, respect mixing with shock. The camera lingered on David's crumbling posture as Tom stepped forward, calm, controlled, the very embodiment of quiet power. Power isn't about titles, it's about understanding the foundation of what you build. And sometimes, he added, voice low but firm, the foundation holds more strength than the walls above it. The room fell silent. No laughter, no whispers, only realization. The reversal was complete. David Kent slumped into his chair, disbelief etched across his face. Every executive in the room stared, some unable to hide their awe, others ashamed for having laughed moments ago. Tom Wilson didn't gloat. He didn't raise his voice. He simply walked through the boardroom, each step measured, calm, carrying the weight of years spent unnoticed, undervalued, and underestimated. "Mr. Kent," Tom said quietly, "power doesn't make you better. Respect does. You mocked me today, but tomorrow, the company will be built on principles, not ego." Employees nodded slowly. Whispers of admiration rippled through the room. Phones continued to record. This wasn't just a story of revenge, it was a lesson in humility, justice, and the strength of patience. Security escorted David Kent out. His head lowered, the arrogance that had once filled the room now evaporated. Outside, the world would see the same man, but inside, he was changed, confronted by the quiet power of someone he had dismissed for years. Tom paused at the center of the boardroom. The same room where he had been humiliated just hours ago now belonged to him, not in title alone, but in respect. He picked up his briefcase, glanced at the employees, and smiled, a calm, victorious smile that needed no words. "I cleaned floors for 15 years, he thought to himself, walking past the stunned crowd. But today, I cleaned out arrogance itself. Fade to black. Soft orchestral music rises. Tom Wilson steps out of the boardroom. The morning sun streams through the glass windows, casting long shadows over the floor he once cleaned. Voiceover, calm, cinematic, emotional. He swept these floors for 15 years. Until the day he swept out arrogance itself. Today, power didn't win. Patience, intelligence, and justice did. Employees linger in the background, whispering, some shaking their heads in disbelief, others nodding with respect. Cut to slow cinematic shot of Tom looking out the city skyline, a man who was invisible, now untouchable. Fade to the Better Tomorrow Sunrise logo with soft orchestral music, leaving the audience with a sense of hope, empowerment, and satisfaction.